One. Oh yeah! What's up?
Hi.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome to Smart Gamer Live. I am here with Velik today and Malice. Everybody else that was going to be on this stream, like all the other three people, either got sick, they had falls, they had all kinds of weird stuff.
Let's be honest. They really didn't want their ears to bleed because they didn't want to listen to me get on a soapbox for an hour and a half and just bitch. That's pretty much, I think, what the real reason they were just fleeing for their lives.
Well, Stackers might be happy in a minute then.
So welcome those of you that are rating from Abducted Gaming's channel. Appreciate you being here. Love the follows. Those are awesome. There's a bunch of you that have come in. Appreciate it very, very much. So we're not going to do a repeat of the Abducted Gaming stream. This stream will be more geared towards what is the CSE update doing to our communities. What those of us as leaders that are in this channel, we're going to talk about what's it doing to us, since we're the ones telling you guys, hey, hang on, this game's going to be awesome. We've still got faith. And then we kind of, yeah, as Malice likes to say, surprise butt sex. So...
I want more lube.
So
no lube for you.
That's what we're doing. Initial just gut reactions off the bat from Ragnarok announcement. And Malice, you probably should drink another beer or two before you actually start talking. Just saying.
I'm just gonna fill up another one. But I kind of want to start this off since Velik just got. He needs a little bit of a break. He just got a good 45-minute rant on his stream, so I'll get a little boxing here. Honestly, everybody in my I didn't even know there was a stream going on. I started getting pinged on my Discord, and they're like, "Hey, you need to look at this," and I'm like, "Click, okay," and then they're bitching in Discord. I'm like, what's going on? I actually have to watch this now. So I'm like watching, and I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? I like really am like trying to like out of respect for CSE and MJ and other fantastic developers over there. What the fuck is Ragnarok? That looks like the most boring piece of shit to fucking be a piece of shit. I have literally seen, I am playing a free-to-play game, Microtrans, that will blow that thing out of the water, and all it is an auto player. I don't know, like, what you're supposed to do. Like, now if
you're supposed to shoot things, come on. That was pretty blatant.
Now, okay. If their final product is we're going to have 100+ creature types, we're going to have 30 different character classes, and have all these cool, unique abilities and stuff like that, that could be an interesting game. Like, it would almost be like a class-based shooter at that point, but PvE orientated. So tower defense, kind of thing like that. But who's going to buy this, even for like $9.99? Like, this is not even like a beta stream exclusive green-lighted crap factory at this point. I mean, the graphic.
He's so upset he can't even talk right. Come on.
I gotta ask. Did we get a confirmation? I didn't get to see. I was just getting off work, so I didn't really get to watch your stream, Velik. You had a guest. Do we know if that art is going to now be Camelot and Chains art?
No.
Are we going cartoon?
No, that's no. It's its own art.
Okay, good. I mean, honestly, I have no problem with cartoony like art. I just seemed to be a interesting shift in gears, and I wasn't expecting it. And I was just hoping that it was kind of exclusive to that game. Again, it's not like that game couldn't be good.
Oh, that game could be great.
But what we were showcased was, I'm not sure what I'm saying.
Premature?
I'm like, that's 5 minutes of fun. And I would be like, okay, that's great.
And that's a lot of what I saw from people in my own guild. They were looking at it going, is this it? Like, this looks like garbage. I wouldn't play this. And I was sitting there the whole time picturing what I thought they were going with it. I was picturing it as, okay, this is like an early, like, alpha version of this game.
Right.
It's obviously not far into it development wise and everything. And so I was picturing that and kind of going like, okay, it kind of looks like maybe like Sanctum, but that's like totally a first person shooter game,
right?
Tower defense style, which is pretty cool. I'm into that. I could see it being something fun. Though at the first moment I was like, is this a MOBA? And then they got into tower defense stuff and I was like, okay, it's not.
Right.
But it kind of like, it's almost like halfway between like Sanctum and like a tower defense game.
Like ArcAge literally just created a dungeon and made it a tower defense that is more intriguing than what I saw. Like, they need walls, they need depth, they need you running around on top of walls trying to set up. I would make it much
Sanctum.
more true tower defense. Sure, I've never played Sanctum, but if that's Sanctum, that's a great idea. What's the other one? It's a dungeon one where you're basically a first person shooter knight, like running around killing orcs and stuff. Orcs Must Die, right? Called Orcs Must Die. Okay, so you basically run around and you set up your dungeon, you put traps everywhere and everything like that, and then you like kind of fight them as they're coming through, and you're setting up new traps, and big spike traps come out, kill orcs and stuff like that. And that was really cool. And not a bad game. And you can get, all I ask is, can you get 20 to 60 hours out of it? If you can't get 20 to 60 hours on it, I ain't going to drop a penny on that game.
You don't have to.
Well, but they want people to. But they want people to. And I don't know who's going to buy it other than the free people who just got it dumped on them. And that's the thing that bothers me the most, is I'm not seeing the excitement that MJ has in this product. And I wish I saw that excitement, because if I saw that excitement, I'd be like, because I've done the exact same thing. I wrote an MMO, and then I actually wrote an MMO that I wanted to build so that I could pay for the actual MMO I want to play, that I actually want to build. So I get that idea that, like, hey, we could generate some revenue, some hype, some cool, show off our engine, do all those other things. But if it's not an interesting enough game, that does none of that. And that's my core issue with Ragnarok at this point.
Yeah, that it felt premature, and that was kind of my problem with like the reception and the preparation for the stream and everything. It felt premature, and the only justification I can feel for it is that MJ had said in the December newsletter they were going to show us big battles at the end of January, and he wanted to hold to that promise. That's the only justification I could think of it, because the whole time I was like, okay, well, this game looks pretty early and rough. It's not really showing us anything super interesting and impressive, especially not when he's spending half the time shooting the ground. But on top of that,
but shooting the ground was effective, because all it was doing is blowing up into a big ball of fire and catching all the zombies on fire.
But on top of that, they showed us no CU content really, except stuff that they were like, this is CU content as well.
Well, and they purposefully avoided every single question that came in on the Twitch chat that said, hey, show us something where you can prove that this was for CU. It just never happened.
Yeah, they were blatantly focusing on the new game. It was to showcase the new game. And I'm sitting there like, if you had delayed this, if this was like 2 or 3 weeks from now, would this game be looking a little bit nicer, more developed? And also, would you have had time to put in CU stuff into this presentation so that most of us who are here expecting Camelot Unchained content don't flip the hell out because we're sitting here like, all right, we've been waiting 6 months for some CU development. We're expecting it now, and you've started developing a new game.
Right.
What the fuck?
And I feel that's a big ball that MJ dropped, was the fact that, and I get it. Trust me, I get it from someone who, from being previously a game dev, all this other stuff, you get tunnel vision into what knowledge you have and what meaning things have to you. The customer doesn't give a flying rat's ass about what it takes to make 1,000 mobs appear on a screen. They don't think that that's a huge... I mean, they think that's cool, and they want that, but they don't know... You could see all the CU things there if you knew what you were looking at, but most people don't know what they're looking at. They're looking at two different games, and they don't understand that aspects of this one game are riddled with all of the cool things they're putting in CU, but all the cool things that CU is and makes CU currently exist. There is very little front end visual that is CU. Everything that is CU is so background, like how AI works, how the servers handle large loads, all these other things, which are really neat technical things, but that's not what gamers want to see or even know or care about in the...
I think this goes to MJ just being so far removed from the gamer base that is wanting to play his games. He's talking about all these things to be transparent, and these are things that are great. This is great stuff. Do we really care about it? No. We want some flipping gameplay. We actually want to see the game going. If you had gotten any of his other top 2 guys that are more in depth in, they're playing in our communities. These are members of our communities. They're playing games regularly. Get any one of those guys on to demo the game. I guarantee it would have gotten off a little bit better, aside from the fact that this is a game that nobody wants to play at the moment. They just want CU.
Well, as Velik and I had mentioned just before he got on, we went live, and I was like, yeah, I'm totally going to mention that too, is MJ, we have now reached the point where you need to look into a PR guy, because you're not the front man anymore. You need a face in front of you, because you are a great font of creativity, a great font of technical wisdom, all of the other things, but you are too invested in what you're trying to sell us, and no one knows what you're trying to sell us.
But I agree with that. I especially agree with the points you were making about the backers not understanding or caring about what's being shown. I do think a lot of us do care, but I'm not a game developer. I know... Right. So I've done a little bit of modding and stuff. I understand some stuff that goes into some parts of it in minuscule ways, but I still have no idea about a lot of it. Like,
it doesn't get you excited.
Well, no, I don't understand what I'm looking at.
So it doesn't get,
This past week, they showed us the updated Cherry Hill Keep, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and he's like, "You see how much better this is?" And I'm like, "No, I don't. What's different? Show me what's different. I need you to zoom in, go into the battle, not show me overhead."
Red circles on the screen going, "See this? Look at the resolution shift." And,
Yeah. I need the play-by-play. I need him to go in and go, "All right, our NPCs are so much better now. They're actually making independent decisions." Okay, go down to the NPCs, zoom in on them, and show me them making a decision that they wouldn't have done before. Or choosing a path that they would not have done before. Show all of them just dumbly walking against the wall, and now they're like taking around objects and stuff. Show me that. That's what I need to see to understand and go, that's cool. Get it.
I mean, a perfect example of that. This happened, a month ago now? All of a sudden there was a, red alert. There's about to be a stream. And I was like, okay. So I hopped into the stream, and it was MJ talking about the new AI engine and NPC movement. And I had a couple of questions and stuff like that about the technicals of it, and But everybody else in that stream was like, "You did a red alert for making a mob path around in a circle? What am I looking at?" Like, no, most people didn't know what they're looking at. I'm like, "Hey, is this going to be a additional feature? Is this I had questions, but most people just didn't even know what they were looking at, and that was a month ago when he was, kind of hyping that engine in the first place. So now we just get to see a bigger picture of it but again, in Ragnarok, he's like, "Look at the NPC engine." I'm like, what? It's literally dumb running at a tower until you attack it, and it has an aggro system. That's the most basic functionality of an MMO ever to be ever. I mean, UO had that on lockdown, what are we talking about here? So, even me, who I watched his AI stream and all these other things like that, didn't really see anything standing out that wasn't really basic mob motion. I don't know.
So, gut reactions from your communities. Malice, I know that you were kind of pinged into this from your guys' Velik. I'm pretty sure you knowing you as much as I do, you probably were there at the start of the stream. What was the gut reaction from your communities to the Ragnarok announcement? Was it good? Was it bad? Did it strain the relationships that you have with your communities, or was this purely an anger 100% at CSE?
About as soon as it started, there were a fair amount of all caps posts and a number of people going, wait, how do we refund? And I mean, these are people who have been at least semi-actively following and backing and following the game for a couple years now. And more than one ended up going, I'm refunding. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous. And, there's some people who even said it and backed down later, because my message to people on both the CU Discord and my community Discord was at least give it a day. Don't freak out and refund right now. At least give it a day. If you want to refund tomorrow, refund tomorrow. And but there were a lot of people who were immediately just mad. In fact, most people who bothered to comment or watch the stream, I felt that of people that I know were angry.
There were very few positive comments in that stream, if any.
I mean, I liked my sales pitch for the Smart Gamer Live argument, at least, which was I think that everyone needs to cancel, and then we need to get torches and pitchforks and go for the doors of the studio. But maybe my troll to try to cause violence was maybe not as didn't go over as well as I wanted. But whatever. It seemed like a good plan at the time.
Andrew,
I told somebody that.
Go ahead.
I told somebody that what I would really like, I don't see it, there's no way for us to organize and do it, but what I would very much have thought would have delivered a good message would actually have been, instead of us all freaking out over Discord, if everyone just dropped out of their Discord. Like 2/3 of all their Discord people just dropped out. Like, all right, bye. Of course, that didn't happen, but there's no way to organize that impromptu.
So fast forward now. That bomb dropped. The chaos that was in the forums throughout that week between that stream and then the next stream that CSE did, Mark getting into the forums and basically saying, "It is what it is. You all are a bunch of whining crybabies. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to be on the forums anymore." And then proceeding for the next several days to basically respond to almost every single person that said something. It's like, oh, how's that break going, Mark?
The one problem I had with that, this is a very personal thing, from back in the day when I worked under him at Warhammer, was that he immediately fired a community manager in Europe for basically saying exactly what Mark said about this. Because they were having some billing issues. Their billing software was like billing people that had dropped, weren't billing people that were playing, doing like all kinds of stupid crap. And basically, the community manager got sick of it and was just like, guys, we're working on it. Suck it up. We'll get it done. He said it more eloquently than that, but that's basically the gist of it. And MJ was like, lost his shit. It was like, fire that man now. I think MJ needs to take his own advice. He doesn't need to fire himself, but he needs to realize he needs to check himself and look for a PR manager.
Yeah. Well, it's like somebody mentioned in chat, Andre, and talk about some of the things that MJ said that sounded like he was lecturing us. And I agree at some point, and I actually wrote up a pretty lengthy part of a comment on the forum about this, that there are certain comments and stuff where he said many times he doesn't want to treat us like a coin purse, and he's even pointed out in the last stream that all the money from the Kickstarter has been long spent. Right. But I agreed. I do believe him. He doesn't want to use us as like a coin purse to buy other stuff, because he'd be pushing he'd be Star Citizening us to death if he wanted to do that. But some of the comments he said were treating people kind of like that, like saying, okay, well, if you're not happy about that, we can do whatever we want. If you're not happy about this, you can get a refund. I'm like, that's pretty disrespectful to the backers and the people who have invested time and energy into this. No, we are not nearly as attached to this or as invested in this as the developers. But saying that kind of makes me want to go get a refund, I'm like, oh, well, if that's the level you give a crap about us and our opinion on what you're doing, then...
Yeah, because, I mean, you already have from the original, core of what is CU of I'm not trying to be a huge game. I'm trying to be this niche, blah, 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 blah. Well, the people that you're now talking to that are hanging on and have hung on for 7 years have accepted this niche and are your niche. We are your customer base at this point. You alienate us and you don't have anybody anymore because you're making it such a niche game anyway. You want to alienate your niche? That's not going to go over well in the long term either.
But he has investors now. He doesn't need us.
He needs players.
I don't want to. I don't want to completely I don't want to imply that I'm unforgiving about comments like that either, though, because I do understand that, as you said, he's a little bit too close to it, and right. So he's in the stream. He's getting a whole bunch of kind of negative connotated questions and comments about it.
Especially
he's probably getting pretty hot.
It'd be like coming up on the screen with your newborn. Isn't he a beautiful child? And seeing a stream of people going, "That ugly baby! What is with that ugly baby? Oh my God, that is such an ugly baby!" I mean, so daddy gets defensive, and I get that, And it's like, but that's why he needs a PR guy. I got $500 in the game already. It ain't going nowhere. It's on red 12, riding for the freaking roulette wheel. Spin, spin, spin. Let's do this. But that doesn't mean that I also want to be tacked down to. I also don't want to be overhyped over. I don't know really what I was even watching in Ragnarok. So Zergs of mobs run at giant towers.
Yeah, and I will say, I do think it was. The stream itself, kind of going back to your last question about the community impact, it was definitely negative. No one in my community really said anything positive about it. Nobody was like, "Oh yeah." There was one person that was like, "Yeah, I might play that." And I was also going, well, even while I was furious, I was like, depending on how it comes about, especially since I'm getting it free because I'm back, I'd give it a shot, especially if testing it and stuff works on the CU engine. You know what? Sure, I'll give it a shot. We'll try it out.
10 to 15 hours at its fun.
Yeah, but I will say, I've got. I think we're currently at 31 people in my guild. I saw comments from 5 of them about this announcement. Maybe over the course of the week, 7 or 8. But most people are so tuned out and just dead from the lack of information about the game that comes out now that they can't be bothered to a large extent. They're like, I can't even worry about what it's doing because if I do, I'm going to get stressed out like Velik is.
Right. You tell me when you launch a product and I'll give a rat's ass. Yeah. I mean,
tell me when you actually have something testable out.
Tell me what Star Citizen. It's like, okay, great. Oh, look, there's a patch. It did blah, blah, blah. Oh, look, we're going to go. I did that. And they did that over and over, and I'd log in and I'd fall through the world. I'd die.
Now, the community is very concerned about you being stressed.
Stress level's high.
Stress level.
That's part of why I've been a while since I did my cast, because I just can't be bothered with this stuff right now.
Well, and now you actually have something to talk about again, rather than nothing new has been released. They're working on stuff. Yeah. It'll be out soon.
Yeah. Well, and that's that's kind of fits with the theme, I guess, of this show, because the things that I worry about aren't the game coming out. The things I worry about are how long is it before half my guild says screw it and just quits and leaves. Those are the things I worry about. How many other games can we play and keep ourselves distracted and interested in before people just decide, before people go off having more kids, they go off doing other life changes, and
bastards having kids. You're ruining the community. You hear pretty that?
Much, yeah.
Drink your beer, old man.
Anything MJ could say. Having kids.
Go drink your beer, old man.
Don't show me any more pictures of your kids.
All right, so before we move into the actual CU announcement that then has come out since, a week later, everybody get your drinks, because that one big long word is going to come up. And as you've noticed in the streams, if you watch any of the CSE stuff, you have to take a shot every time somebody says the word. So it's bound to come up once or twice in here. Get your alcohol. Velik, the new content that came out. We watched a video from May. We watched live gameplay. I didn't see a difference. That was me. What did you think?
It was minimal. Well, I agree. That's kind of what I was alluding to earlier. You know, they came in and they show us the new footage and even a comparison. They're like, here's the old footage. Now here's the new footage. And I'm like, what am I looking for? At one point, I had to message Brand, one of my guild members, and go, what's different? Because, you know, he at least knows some of the technical stuff. You know, he's worked on games a little bit and stuff. And he was like, well, there are some particle improvements in here, but most of it's really engine stuff. And I'm like, yeah,
It's
okay.
all
So I'm not like blind just staring at this. I'm like, what's different? I don't know. Okay, the building's collapsing faster, but that's not really a tech improvement. They just sped up how fast the building degrades. So you're not alone. I was sitting there like pouring into it, just like, what am I looking for that I can talk about this weekend as an improvement? He's just flying over. And again, it's like he's flying overhead, and I really want him to show me, like, if the NPCs are smarter, zoom in and show me them being smarter.
Right.
Yeah, he kept talking about they're no longer dumb as rocks. They can move around all this stuff. And he's like, oh, you can see them down there shooting. No, MJ, we can't see crap. You're like 40,000 feet up in the air looking at stuff.
See little pinpricks going, pew.
Yeah,
pew,
all you see is
pew.
just colored balls going back and forth, and trebuchets doing their thing, and then an amazing looking keep. Trev, you got a lot of love in that stream. You get a lot of love from this community. Dude, that thing's freaking awesome. It's a shame that we have to destroy it all the time, but...
Well, and it's gonna.
I really enjoy destroying its TDD. So
it's the only castle in the whole entire of all of CU that will not be shaped as a giant penis or a swastika. So, I mean,
my guild keep will not be a giant penis. We'll hide the penis in the wall somewhere.
If you look at it from an aerial view, it'll just be a giant set of testicles.
You blow out part of the wall, and there's a giant penis just sitting there. The whole wall is reinforced by little penis towers in the wall.
Guys, go take that keep. There's a giant phallic symbol in there.
After working on UO as a GM for a while, I could just tell you that someone at any point will figure out how to integrate a swastika or a penis into their building to get reported, so that I have to go and blow it up.
Oh, excuse me. It's a giant Velic symbol. Excuse me.
Giant Velic.
I'm more toe-like, I will have you know.
Velic's a giant toe. Okay, so but the timing of the announcement.
It's bad. It's just bad. Like I said, if they had announced Ragnarok with CU updates and contents and the roadmap that they put out,
do all the CU stuff first
together.
And, by the way,
yeah,
as an extra thing for you.
People would have still been mad, but like me personally, I would not have been like wanting to throw stuff across my room. I would have been like, okay, this is not the announcement I wanted. It's not as cool as I wanted it to be, but I at least got CU up info and this game info instead of the whole time I'm just sitting there being like, okay, so in December, so did this get delayed, or in December did they just knowingly lie to us to market this game to us? Which one happened? I'm assuming the CU content got delayed out of this, but then why didn't they delay this? Like, why was there a push to have to do this game's announcement now? The timing was just awful.
I don't think they lied to you. I think they created an illusion. They alluded to things, and then you were like, that's what it should be.
You know, as I was talking to Malice,
it's politician speech. Politicians don't lie. They well, some do, but
politicians
don't lie. They create a list of words that you make assumptions based on.
I had this conversation with somebody specifically about whether or not the mention of the skybox for Ragnarok was a lie. Because after the second stream, I was like, okay, so they clearly have not done the work to put it in CU yet. But when they did the first stream, MJ went out and looked up at the skybox and was like, isn't this so much better and cooler developed, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, he's implying, because he knows we hate the sky in CU, he's implying that the sky in CU is now better. That, to me, is kind of a lie if it's not.
Either that or insulting his own previous product by going, see, it's so much better here. Come play this game where this guy doesn't suck. I mean, like, what?
So, like I said, I'm not necessarily like I don't necessarily think that they intended with the winter newsletter to blatantly lie to us. I felt more like what happened is maybe they did want to have some CU updates, and they barely got this game Ragnarok to a state where they were comfortable showing it. So they certainly didn't have time to work on anything for CU to show it. And then for some reason, I guess because he promised content at the end of January and was like, we must show them the thing, he decided to show us Ragnarok by itself. I'm guessing, I shouldn't have to guess, and that's part of the problem, but I'm guessing that's what happened.
Sorry.
The Frequency wants to know, what is Skybox?
So a skybox is basically the height of the zone ceiling and the painted sky that exists there. Usually a multi-layered process that shows night and day, clouds moving,
what you see when you look
stars moving, all that type of stuff. That's the skybox. CU is just kind of like a gray, boring, cloudy sky.
MJ's used to looking at his feet, so they develop everything from a viewpoint of that down so that he's happy. And then, later on, Andrew's going to come in and he's going to make everything that's up good.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the skybox is the least of my
it's not that important.
Because at the end of the day, I think I'm going to say at the end of the day a few more times, just we can start drinking on that one too.
Linux and at the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
Linuxification, excuse me.
Linuxification. Drink.
At this point in Velik's life, every time he hears the word Linuxification, he just starts to cringe visibly.
Mm-hmm.
But there are too many package deals that you could integrate for a skybox. I mean,
it adds an element of polish to a game.
It's been so bad for so long that it almost feels like there's no excuse it shouldn't be better. It's like anytime you show videos and stuff, yes, it's not important. It's really not. But when you show videos of what the game looks like and anything shows the sky, people go, "Oh, what the crap is that?"
You're not wrong. Well, that goes back to the player doesn't know really like what's going on, and they're seeing it from a back end and they're like, oh my God, look at this cool back end stuff. And everybody really, at the end of the day, wants front end stuff. And you've got artists, they're arting. Make them do some work on painting a skybox for you and getting something,
Grimslag, a skybox is going to be a Ragnarok loot box 3 for $5.
They did say visuals in the cash, mostly visual stuff in the cash shop. So
you don't like the gray sky? Cool. Buy a new color. Buy some clouds. You can put them up there yourself.
Now that is an interesting spin, and you bring up something I hadn't really I had thought of, and then I tried to like wash it out of my brain. But really, Ragnarok is they realized down at the core of their core that microtrans is the way of the future. That is the only thing that runs on games. They can give a game away and then hope to make their money back on microtrans. And they realized that they made way too many promises about never doing that in CU. And so now we have Ragnarok. CU2, the Electric Boogaloo, comes with loot boxes and pay to wins and all the other wonderful items that you can pay $7.99 for. And I feel that that's kind of what Ragnarok ended up being, was the realization that he painted himself into a corner in CU, that he can't make it microtrans. And so now they're going to like microtrans this new thing.
Eventually we're going to get to, instead of being CSE, it's going to be CS-EA.
No, well, that's one thing he will never do. He already did it once. He already did it once.
Never again.
And he got burned so bad that he cannot. I don't think MJ can actually say EA or Electronic Arts without spitting out poison. Like, he is so angry at EA for the setup and spike and stealing of his company, basically. So yeah, no, you never have to worry about joining EA. I mean, Ubisoft or random devil in waiting, but you know.
So Bobo Dayak says, could it be possible that they were showing Ragnarok to show the engine, hoping to attract more investors?
I do think that's possible. I was wanting to say that I feel like
I don't know that you would do that on a stream, though.
Well, I feel like a part of the interest in this, and maybe even the timing of them pushing this out as quickly as they have and showcasing it to us as soon as possible, is they kind of mentioned, he mentioned at one point that all the Kickstarter money is gone, and he's gotten investors and new investor money, but as you mentioned with cash shop stuff for this new game and everything, I'm like, do they see that CU is going to take so long to develop that they're going to run out of the money they have now before they finish it? And so they need this to come out to get more money to make sure they can take as long as they want to develop CU. And, they won't say that, but that's still nagging in the back of my mind. Like, is that a thing? And they just won't admit that that's a thing.
If you're trying to make a AAA MMO, it's near impossible nowadays to do without $100 million. And they got $6 million from Kickstart?
Mm-hmm. Just enough to get things started.
Maybe pulling another 25 million or something from investors.
And on top of it, they're building an engine, which most AAA titles don't build their engine.
Well, yes and no. But they usually use a bought engine as a foundation and then rip it to its foundation and then work on it for their own needs. But yeah, so you're not wrong.
Let me throw something flip at you guys on the other side of all the anger and the angst and stuff that we have at MJ and whatnot. This announcement and timing of everything could have been an absolute stroke of genius on his part. We have heard nothing from CSE about CU. They do absolutely no advertising whatsoever. Velik, you're a prime example of this. You guys stopped your show because there's just nothing to talk about when it comes to CU. Enter in the new announcement. It's crap. You've now started your show again. Everybody in the entire community is talking about it. It's not good. Some of it's good, a little tiny bit. But the point is, people are talking about it. In a few weeks, all they've got to do is say, here's something really shiny. Oh, MJ, we love you. Oh, this game's going to be awesome. We're very cool about it coming out. Boom. They've just automatically hyped everything up without having to spend a great deal of money. They've taken the idea of anger and angst and used it to their advantage. Thoughts?
I mean, accidentally, maybe. I don't think that was intentional. Considering some of the dissenting voices I've heard from some of the places I've heard it from, this is definitely not some internal plan.
Well, but you yourself have said on previous streams that MJ does not let people know what's going on in his brain, to his detriment.
Oh, totally. Mostly because I don't think he even knows how to express his idea on paper fully. He builds a framework, and from there he goes, I have this idea, and I'm not sure how to cram it in your head, so I'm going to make you repeat trying to do something until you've hit near enough the spot in my brain that I'm like, yes, keep that.
Here's more where I feel like that might be semi-accurate, maybe. So maybe not the intent to drum up hype about the game, because they've actively kind of avoided that for a long time. They've never really, which was part of my issue with this announcement, when they kind of hyped it a little bit and then we get there and it's not even CU. But where I do feel like there could be some accuracy to that is, we look at the forums, we look at the Discord and everything for the last 6 months while they've been doing Linuxification, and there's been nothing, zero development. I won't say there's been zero development on CU, but zero development that we can see, that we can tangibly touch and say, oh, things are different. Gameplay is developing. And I do think it's possible that that 6 months ago they went, we have to do linefication. It's going to take a little while. We may not be able to develop anything for CU that's going to really wow people or interest them in a while, but we can take one of these scenarios and make a separate game that we can possibly make some profit off of and get it out to them in about 6 to 10 months, and then use that to keep people interested and make them start testing the engine, because they've been struggling to get testers for the beta test, because it's nothing new. They've barely been doing beta tests, and then when they do, it's always during the week. They can barely get anybody, etc. But if they have this new game that uses mostly the same engine tech, and they can get people to get free copies of that game, and get in game to test the engine for it and stuff, I do see that as, maybe that was something they wanted to do. They wanted to get people in. I'm not saying it's necessarily the whole point, but I can see maybe that is a thing that they were also thinking about, is we can use this as a way to get testers, because we're not going to be able to get engine testers for CU.
But they could get engine testers. All they wanted in CU, all they need to do is run 3-day events. Run 48-hour, 72-hour events. Not like, okay, so if you are living in Europe, Southeast Asia, or unemployed, you can test for us. Other than that, you won't be able to experience Camelot Unchained because you have a job.
Well, if you recall several months ago, they had been doing all the tests during the day, and they get maybe half a dozen people, if that, onto the test during the actual test time. I mean, really, it's Bumble and his group, because they're one of the dedicated testing communities that's what they signed on for, was to do 100% testing. He was going to be on this. He's got the flu. Bumble, hope you feel better. We went to Brian as Smart Gamer and said, hey, don't do any testing for a couple of weeks. Announce a test that's going to be in a few weeks to let people plan to actually be there. They had a couple hundred people.
Yeah.
Did they continue to do it? No.
So, I mean, there's a lot cheaper ways to have this than to develop a new game. Like, they could have literally had all the testers they wanted. Just, you have to make it run overnight. You have to do things like that. Because if you don't have a 24-hour window even, like, your testers just... they're not going to get in there. They're not going to get involved, because I have gotten home to be like, oh, cool, it's a test. Click.
And down.
The test will be going down in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, that test has been the same exact test for how long now?
Right.
How many times can you go in there and get your ass kicked by Bumble? Seriously.
Yeah, and I was going to say,
whatever.
I think... I've been kind of begging them to do pre-planned scheduled tests for ages. And y'all talked them into finally doing one, and they did get a good turnout. But even with that, that's after we hadn't really had a test in a while. And I'm like, if they did manage to do that every couple of weeks, but they don't actually update anything for CU, as we haven't seen any major updates in the last 4 to 5 months, how long is it before people stop coming out to that as well?
Right.
And so that's where I did have the one thought of maybe part of the reasoning for this game and putting it out now instead of waiting for an announcement later, is that they're thinking this is another way to get a different type of test where we can pull people in, because we're not going to be able to get anything really significant or a new scenario out for CU for another 3 to 4 months.
Well, we had actually been approached at one point, and we put together a spreadsheet of people from about 5 different communities, and we were going to be given some exclusive testing. They were going to literally give us target testing. Go do this, go do that, everything like that. We're like, great. You let us know. You give us a day. We'll be there.
We'll break your game.
A month later. So you give us a time and a target, and we'll be there.
About that thing?
A month after that. So you had to sign up, and we even had people who've not paid a dime. You gave them test accounts, and you haven't given us the target or the day. You got to pre-plan this. You can't just be surprised it's up on Friday. We all have jobs. That's not going to be helpful. So we have to have at least a week ahead of time to plan it, to work it out, to get a significant percentage of this list on, and we'll break your stuff. We'll be happy to test the crap out of your stuff. Well, several of them know how to do like QA testing and all kinds of stuff. So you give us that target and you give us that day, we're there. But they never did it, and that was a year ago. And now I'm just staring at a list still, going, okay. So it's not that they can't get testers in my book. This seems like yeah, I get it. Like it allows them to kind of feed some ideas out there, and I also get the idea after 7 years of development, smashing your face in the same crap, that they decided that, hey, let's make this little side project, have some fun, relax, decompress, and then be able to get back into CU full on.
Yeah, that was my other thought with this, is that this was more of a team building / just we need to do something different or we're going to lose the mass majority of our staff. With CSE, it's like, hey, we've got this kind of valid. We've got this off the hip idea for a game that's stupid simple. It could be a lot of fun. It was probably going to have some pretty epic moments in it because you're basically killing 2,000 to 3,000 people at a time. Who doesn't have fun doing that for about 10 minutes? Let's get it done. And we'll use all the tech for CU. And then we'll do a really bad announcement on it. But hey, let's have some fun while we're making it. Yeah. Given that we now kind of know that Ragnarok is more or less slated for a release at the end of the year, and last year before the end of the year we were thinking, hey, CU's probably going to be out in fourth quarter of 2020. That doesn't look like it's going to happen anymore.
No,
that was my original hype. I got everybody on board to hang out for another year on this because I'm like, fourth quarter 2020, I know it. And they just basically made it absolutely clear. Fourth quarter 2020, maybe fourth quarter 2022.
Yeah, it's and there were a lot of issues with the announcement, the timing of it, what was said, period, because some things just weren't clear. Chris just mentioned in chat that they hired a separate team to work on it. Well, they came in later and said they didn't. They didn't hire a team specifically for the new game. But when they were talking about it, and they talked about hiring new devs, it certainly sounded like he was saying, we hired some new devs to work on this game. And I'm sitting there like, when did you fill out the team for CU? I don't recall getting that update. And that's been supposedly one of the things that's been the drain, is getting engineers for CU for the last 4 years.
Well, I think that was this is why I extrapolated from what he said. I feel that, again, this falls into, if you don't know the details of what he's talking about, you miss some of how all that pieces together in that conversation. I was like, oh, so he's getting funding to work on this additional funding to work on this project, which allows him to hire people for this project, which he then gets to also draw those resources over to CU
after the
fact. Or even during, because if you're the artist, well, I've made all my character models currently. I've got a month to kill before we get to the next stage, and I need to make more character models or something. So then you can draw those resources around. And that's how I saw it. But a lot of people didn't get it. A lot of people were so you built a whole new staff to do this, but you couldn't fill out CU? What does that bode for CU?
Well, yeah, they kept arguing that this gives us more engineers to work on CU and all this stuff. And I'm like, how is this helping with hiring people? I mean, you've got money, and it still took forever to hire anybody. So how are you suddenly hiring people for this? And then more kind of to the question, they give us the 90-day content list. Well, it's currently beginning of February, so 90 days. In 3 months, we will have a new scenario. So that's going to be May, end of May. We're supposed to have, I don't believe for a second all that stuff's going to be done in 90 days, but we're supposed to have one new scenario, a new class, and some other improvements and features in the game. But I've said several times, I understand that the scenarios are useful for testing the game. I don't give a crap about scenarios in the game. I want to see open world content that we are running around on testing in an actual fashion. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen tomorrow. But looking at this 90-day roadmap, that's obviously not happening in 90 days either. So, more to the point, if in end of May we've just got a new scenario, one new class, and a host of other features, while I'm happy to know that's coming, it certainly means the game is not coming out in 2020.
So just real quick, for those of you in chat, we threw up a question poll. Will you request a refund? Absolutely, you're going to request a refund. Too early to tell, not a chance, never gave those schleps money in the first place. Let us know kind of what you're thinking. Have you guys lost anybody from your communities because they came to you specifically for this game and now they're just like, peace, I'm out?
I haven't had anyone leave. I have had at least, I think, 2 people say that they were definitively getting refunds and then they were going to hang around, and if they want to buy the game back again later, they will. But I have seen at least 2 people saying, I'm asking for a refund. We don't require them to be a backer to be in our guild, so it's not really necessarily an issue. They didn't have to leave or anything. It's just
that was the other kind of scheme or scam. If I wanted to look at this very shadowy, it's not really MJ's style to be shadowy. He may be socially awkward, and not know how to sell a pitch sometimes, but I've never considered him to be a person who willfully lies or manipulates you. But the idea did cross my mind that he's almost doing this. It's in many ways. So if you look at Star Citizen, there was this big push early on. All the early ships and everything like that had lifetime insurance on it for free, right? They kind of did this whole entire play with all these new ships and everything like that. They're like, well, you could melt this, you could do this, or whatever like that to get this new ship, but you don't have lifetime insurance on it. And if you try to buy back your old ship, you can't have lifetime insurance anymore. And I felt like, in a way, this was to get a bunch of people to do refunds to buy the game later so they wouldn't have lifetime freaking subs.
Shifty.
And I don't know, but it is very possible that that at least partially, in a way, even if it was subconscious, is the realization. Maybe the investor said, "Hey, you sold so many of these things through your Kickstarter, that who's going to be paying your monthly?"
Yeah, I can say I may be naive, but I don't think that's the case. I won't say it's not possible. I don't think that's the case, because if I did think that was the case, I would refund and stop following the game. And that's basically the core messaging of my primary complaints about the whole thing to MJ and to CSE were, the way this went down, the way it was announced and promoted and everything, shook my trust in CSE. And it's also why after the latest announcement, I sent a message to MJ himself and kind of, just reaffirming, while this didn't address all my concerns by any means, it did enough that, you still have my backing and my support for the game. I'm not refunding. Not yet. I mean, that was Friday. He left. I'm hoping.
Fair.
But still, I didn't really care whether he responded or not. I just kind of wanted to throw it out there and say, because I do want to reward people when they do things I want. And one of the core things I wanted was for them to give at least some sort of public message explaining at least some of the context around this. And I didn't get nearly as much explanation as I wanted. But I didn't really expect to get I didn't expect they would do it at all. I expected he would just try to let this die down on the forums, do individual responses and stuff. So I appreciated that he at least came out and made, an announcement and a new stream and stuff, tried to make it good, at least a little bit. And so, yeah.
It.
Yeah, did you guys believe the crying?
Felt like it was likely.
But did you believe the crying? Chat, did you think MJ's crying was legit, or do you think he was?
What do you all think? Because
I'm a cold bastard, so I was just like,
again, I'm gonna.
Tears.
Did you go watch it, Malice?
I have not, no.
Oh, okay.
But just from knowing MJ, again, like, I don't feel he's a dishonest person. He just doesn't know how to express. He's just socially awkward and doesn't know how to express himself sometimes in at least this environment. He is much better when he's typing out responses on a cooler head than when he's on a stream. And he it's again, I go back to the comment of, this is my lovely baby. It's an ugly baby. What? Like, I really think that in many ways he really took a very mortal blow, like, in that response. It's the reason why he was so touchy about it. So
yeah.
Well, and as Chat's saying, the crying or the emotional episode really kind of started every time a question came up that even remotely got close to attacking his team.
Right.
Yeah, and
he's very defensive of his staff. I will say that even when we were doing Warhammer, like, we would have all calls and stuff like that, and he was just like, well, listen, when this game wraps up, blah, 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 I want to move on to the next project is right away. I want to keep people. I want to do everything in my power to keep this staff because, I've pretty much handpicked all of you. You're freaking awesome, and keep up the great work. So he's always had a very strong, loyal, like, response. It's actually why he has such a negative, like, venom towards EA. It's because EA set him up with staff that backstabbed him. And that was the ultimate betrayal to him. The jackasses at Broadsword that currently have Dark Age of Camelot, I believe MJ would support my point. You can light yourself on fire and die.
Yeah, I don't know if they were genuine or not. I don't necessarily think they were fake, because, again, if I felt like he was if I felt confidently that he was trying to deceive or manipulate us, I'd unback the game and stop following it. Be simple, because that's the main reason. I don't really like kickstarting MMOs. I will kickstart board games. I will kickstart some apps and some games that are coming out imminently and stuff. Specifically, things that I feel are indie projects or things that I like to kickstart. I don't really like to kickstart things from people who have money. It kind of ticks me off. I'm like, you can get investors. What are you doing? Why are you getting this big project and getting more people's money for it? It really kind of rubs me raw most of the time. So I actually waited a long time before backing the game, specifically because I wanted to see, what they were doing with communication and all that. And so it wasn't until they built that trust that then I went, okay, I'll buy in. And so the trust is the sticking point for me. And I'm like, and if that erodes too much, I will refund, and I will just drop out and go, all right, it won't even be I'm refunding it, I'm playing later. I'll go, nope, I'm not touching it. With a 10-foot pole, I can hold a grudge and go, all right, I'm not going to play this game in 500 years when it comes out.
No, Bobo, I want to hear this. We are in mid. This isn't public, man. There's not enough people watching this thing to be public. I
log out and come back in as anonymous, and then post.
Yeah,
we totally log out.
I think a lot of us are like, they're like Wota. It's like, oh, the Dayak people are making another Dayak sort of thing. Please take my money. No, just shut up and just take my money. Just take the damn money. And that's kind of where we're at, and we're still hopeful.
It's a Fry meme with the money going, take my money,
take my money. Malice, you are the only one that can actually tell me if I'm wrong or right. Ooh.
Okay.
So Bobo, hit that up on the Discord.
As I say, you want to
that's more private.
I'll let you know.
That's you're totally not sharing that.
Later, he says. All right. Any last thoughts on any of this and how your communities are doing and what you think going forward? Are we still hopeful?
And we should keep going because I'm at beer 4. Only to get more at this point.
I think my community's doing. I think my guild's doing pretty good coming out of it. It just the timing on it for us was real bad. Like y'all know, I told you we just went through a pretty big community. We went through a pretty big community change. We shifted how our whole community works, and had literally just had a guild meeting to go. All right, Ordo Veritas. We are still going to be going. What do people want to do? All right, we still want to chug away. We still want to be competitive. We still want to do all this stuff in CU. We've got a big announcement coming next week. This should be good. Then next week, dumpster fires everywhere. And I'm just like, oh God.
You realize he Veritas his order, and it just went.
There were more dumpster fire memes on Discord channels of gamers that last week than ever.
Oh.
They should have a dumpster fire award, instead of vaporware.
I really try not to follow things I've kickstarted for the pure, simple fact that either it comes out or it doesn't, because there's no control I have over it. But oh my God, seeing that like I said, even if he had launched, if Ragnarok had been like, oh wow, that, even though it's maybe unpolished or something like that, ooh, that's something I really wouldn't mind playing. Like, I think it would have been a totally different reaction by the community too. But I think 98% of the people went, what is that? And that seems like it'll entertain me for maybe an hour, and I will have gone through match 4, because probably matchmaking will be really slow. And you spent time to do that.
Okay, and looking forward, new scenarios coming, more secrets.
What's a new scenario?
Island scenarios or something to that nature.
It's supposed to be a central keep scenario where we will be fighting over a central keep that we can build and repair and destroy, instead of just having cherry keep that just exists and we just bombard the crap out of it, but an actual one that we can build and fight over. Which I specifically asked during that stream, how is building supposed to work? Because I'm excited for that. And he went, not telling you. And I went,
you don't know.
Yeah, that was my takeaway. I'm like, I'm sorry, but that really sounds like you don't know. Not like you're trying to surprise me.
You're not wrong. MJ has a really bad history of internally of being a strong ideas guy and a strong goals oriented guy.
Hey guys, I promised this on the stream. How do we make it happen?
Right. He hires people for the pure purpose of going, so I stepped in it again. Can you guys whip this out real quick? Because otherwise, we're fucked. I mean, I love you, MJ. We're still bros, but I gotta call it how I see it, man.
Well, I'm excited to see it on the 90-day roadmap, because that's one of my complaints. I actually made a list on our show of
I saw
what do they have to have in the test before I consider it to be a beta 1 test. And we were discussing that like 6 months after beta 1 started. And I was just like, this is not a beta test. It's a freaking alpha test still. What do they need to have before we consider this to be beta? And one of the things I said was, I want a kind of open, large map keep siege where we can at least fight over one keep and everyone can go in and fight. I mean, we had this early in alpha. I at least want it there, preferably with the siege and the destructible mechanics. I wasn't even asking for building. Like, at least just have a siege that we can fight over, capture, destroy, and have all 3 factions going at it, so that it at least looks like a microcosm of what the game is supposed to be.
Chat, what do you want to see in the new scenario? Could type that in while Velik's going.
And so this scenario at least is like kind of what I was going, okay, this is one of the things that I have to have in there for me to consider this to be beta. Because then it's at least, like I said, it's a microcosm of what the game's supposed to look like. As opposed to just bombard the keep that already exists that no one's really defending.
So I want to
dead players killed by me. That's what Dark Society wants.
Good choice. I happen to say this for a person who has both worked in the industry as well as beta tested and alpha tested a good 24 MMOs. I will say that we are not even close to beta in CU. If you have not integrated Cube into your main game, if you don't have at least a majority of your land done, like if there's one, even if it's just one whole faction's worth of land, if we don't have that large of an area to test on, if we don't have Cube, if we don't have most of the classes ready, if we don't have art to give us, if we don't have
Malice,
actual character building that has relevancy,
we have Linuxification.
I don't even know what that word means. That hurts my soul every time it is said. It is the most sales pitchy bullshit word I have ever heard.
I just love the fact that he can say it like 3 times in the same sentence.
Linux, yay! It's good for your back end. What are we arguing about? What is Linuxification? What?
The only time I felt like it had any value was on the recent stream where he said, when we finish Linuxification, we should be pretty much at the next step to getting overnight servers that we don't have to manage. I was like, okay, that's a thing I can value.
Right.
Because we should have had that ages ago.
I don't know why they didn't write it out of freaking Linux background in the first place.
So frequency Linuxification is just, it's a big, gigantic, fancy word for basically saying the framework and architecture of the game is built on Linux, which is an open source. It's cheaper, easier to edit, and all that kind of stuff versus other architecture.
More importantly, it is faster running and more efficient because it's not running a megaton of bloatware.
Right.
If you're trying to run on server 08 or whatever server they were trying to run on a Windows server, you can't compare it to running on, clean Linux, like literal almost raw code servers that can spit out data fast.
You need like 30% of server resources just to run the server. And that doesn't even count all the crap that you're putting on it. That's just, I've turned it on and it's functional. Great. We're now using 30% of the resources. Versus with Linux, it's like, okay, I'm using 6.
Yeah, well, according to CSE, it's supposed to be cheaper for them to run the servers and everything. And,
no, it will be.
But this is one of the things that has, again, I'm not a game developer. And I always knew, of course, there would be development for the engine. I mean, I don't expect that to ever end completely, but going back to the Kickstarter, one of the things that I remember them talking about, unless I've gone crazy, was that part of the reason they went into this was they already had an engine that they had developed and they were going to be expanding on for this game. Now, for my layman's perspective, that implies to me that you already have the majority of the engine that will thus be being tweaked and adjusted and everything for the game. Because they're like,
fooled you.
We came in with this engine that that has already been custom made, and we've been working on it. And now, like years later, the work is still primarily working on the engine. And which is where, again, I think a lot of the problem comes when they announce something like this. And we're like, we're still not even in beta. We're still doing mostly engine work being done.
Yep.
And now you're working on another game.
Every stream he does is trying to sell us the engine and not the game.
But I want to reference chat here real quick. But Dark Society, again, we go through the cycle of if you want to keep testers, you give them a test environment. Is every tester testing what you want them to be testing? No. But that's why devs on most alpha and beta tests, they let people kind of play around with the world, test and break the world, do reporting, do all kinds of things like that. And then devs happen to go, hey guys, I need 3 hours of your time and we need to work on this. And all the alpha and beta testers go, okay. And we all run over and we smash our face into the corner until it breaks or whatever. And then we move on. But you still should be always testing all aspects of your environment. It's nice that devs want to focus on one thing, but they can do that in a more live environment and have a 100 square mile map. Because if they can't create a 100 square mile map now,
what makes you think they?
When are they getting around to that? I mean, again,
still an engine test.
Right now, we're still doing engine tests. This is for 3 years. Like, when are we going to have something to actually concern ourselves with, which would be a game? And right now, there is no game that exists. It is, can models subsist in an open environment and use basic skills and basic objects to do some of the most basic gameplay aspects available? That leaves us, even if it's just a perception wise, even if it's not true, even just raw perception wise, the average player looks at this game and goes, wow, you got 5 years of development yet. I mean, and that's not where you want to be right now.
I will also say that there are a lot of this is very, very much aside, but that just kind of reminded me that there are also a lot of dishonest actors that they have to act against with some of this stuff. In that, I hesitate because I don't want to call them backers, because I think a lot of them aren't backers. They're just people who like to cause crap. For instance, on Reddit the other day, somebody went and made a post asking, why does this game look like Shadowbane? And I was like, are you serious? Like, this game, you're comparing it to the visuals and stuff of a game from like 13 years ago. That's what you're trying to do right now. That's not even an honest question. This is ridiculous. But there are people that come out.
Let's be honest. Shadowbane was a far better game than the current one we've got.
But they're referring to the visuals and everything of the game, and I'm like, but when they're putting out, like, still doing engine tests and everything, they're not helping their case any. Now that's not necessarily something they can fix. They can't just stop doing them, but just as awareness of the situation, they're not really helping their case against some of these people who are coming out and just being trolly, essentially, about the game, because the game still doesn't really look great. Is it look as bad as a 13-year-old game? Hell no, that's a stupid question. But it doesn't look great, and it doesn't really run that great. It doesn't. When you're seeing people blowing up stuff with trebuchets and stuff, I'm like, okay, that's cool, but is it a game? Not really. Now, the first time we saw Cherry Hill Keep and we got to go in there, it did feel much more like a game. And so when we first got it, I was like, yes, this is cool. This is great. It's been like 6-8 months now, and I'm like, okay, we're still here.
Right. We're at the point in development, or should be at the point in development. Keep in mind, again, we're 7 years into this. So the idea of engine development has kind of passed. We need to start getting... That's great. You want to keep developing, and you've still got your teams to do that developing. But on the other hand, you also need your art teams and things like that to be constantly throwing you some visual candy at this point. Because if you're not being given the scope of what this world is going to be, it's nothing but an engine test.
Chris in chat was saying that they really, really wanted to see crafting. And I think if we're going to go to this new scenario where we've got to keep that, and the keywords here are build and repair, we know that from other documents and whatnot, the ability to build and repair is going to be directly tied to crafting and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so but you can do it as a test.
One would hope. Yeah, but one would hope that they would use this opportunity to then stick in some element of crafting, because, I mean, how many people in chat are really itching to do crafting? There's a lot.
I'll put it this way. Again, MJ, no hate here, but when we did Warhammer, MJ was like, and so I got this great idea for crafting. I got this great idea for crafting. 3 months before launch. So where's this great idea for crafting? We're still waiting for it. Blah! And like spit out this like quick, like panicked right out of a crafting system. And it was kind of horrendous. And it's my biggest worry about CU. Is that we're going to end up in that same scenario.
I feel like that's part of why Chris, who I know is very big into crafting, and several other people keep harping on about it because we're
Right.
like, we should be seeing crafting stuff. We want to see. We had the crafting document, which was really just a little bit of beta stuff for crafting. We're like, we want the crafting Bible to know what it's supposed to look like and what you're going to do with it, and we want to see progress on it.
Yep. No, I don't disagree. Woda, you, I actually want to target something you said. You said, was DOC a bought game from Mythic, or was MJ at the forefront? Because he should be used to this, right? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Are you saying that when EA kind of dropped Warhammer in DOC, or what are you specifically referencing? Because basically Mythic was snagged out from under MJ. While I was there, MJ went ghost and all of a sudden left the company. So Mythic then became full ownership by EA, and the person who backstabbed MJ, if I remember correctly, is now the head of Broadsword, and then EA sold DAOC to Broadsword.
It says, no, did MJ and Mythic buy a version of DAOC? I thought I heard that at some point in time.
Did MJ and Mythic buy a version of DAOC? You mean its engine? Because they built that. There was 6 people who basically built DAOC.
In what, 18 months, I think it was?
Yeah. One of them is, at least, I don't know if he's still with the company, but is one of the ESO PvP senior producers.
I love it. A full game with PvE, PvP that we all love to this day. 18 months to make, and now we are 7 years into a PvP only game.
You're not wrong. It's because there was a certain magic there. MJ, like I said, has fantastic ideas. He has a really, I'll give him genius status in his visionary. But like most visionaries, he has no idea how to properly express that. And he, therefore, pretty much without someone having his reins and being able to, on equal footing, deal with him, is stuck in the perpetual build cycle of, how about this? How about this? How about this? It's like an artist redoing your portrait 472 times because, there's no je ne sais quoi in it. What the fuck does je ne sais quoi mean? Let me redo your painting. There you go. How's that? No, I don't like the colors. And that's listen, I have this image in my mind, and that's what I want. It's okay, but what is that? I can't tell you. And
it's just gonna be awesome.
But it will be awesome when it's done.
Linuxification.
I can guarantee you. And that's the problem that MJ runs into, is that he gets trapped in his own head sometimes. And because of that, it's hard to develop with him. And at least when it was the original company, there were 6 people and they were all equals. And MJ had to bend to their will. No one has to bend. MJ doesn't have to bend to anybody's will in CSE, and that makes things dangerous sometimes.
Yeah, I do feel like we, as you actually mentioned earlier, I do feel like we see some of that out when he's doing the presentations and stuff, because I've since that first Ragnarok presentation, I've had conversations with Brand and here with yourself and with some other people who all to varying degrees know a little bit about development. And in each case, there's been at least one thing that I was like, okay, I follow that better from what you said than what he said on the stream.
Right.
That makes more sense.
He has a lot of difficulty being trapped in his own head sometimes. Again, don't begrudge the guy. He is a genius. The guy knows how to, once you can get through that, but unfortunately he runs into some ego problems, like most geniuses do. We actually had a huge problem in Warhammer. MJ, if you're listening, I'm sure you're not, but just in case you are,
we'll get him on here one of these days.
We played you a couple of times because you openly refused to have a conversation with staff about concerns we actually had about the game. The people you would listen to is you would go to these niche forums and talk to randos, and they would tell you stuff, and you'd be like, that's fantastic. And all of a sudden we'd get reports that all of a sudden we need to make these changes. So some of those randos weren't so rando. They were just randos of our names posting on those forums trying to get you to do shit because you refuse to listen to us. And that pissed me the fuck off more than anything.
Gotta know how to work the system. Come on, Malice.
But like that makes me fearful for how he interacts with some real good talents in the industry. Bull and Brand and freaking JB and freaking Ben, and there's a lot of great people over there that I know, and it's like I can only assume that many of their concerns go to the wind, and a lot of things that they're told to do are so nebulous that they don't know how to achieve them, and that gets frustrating. So that's my fear.
So let me say this for those of you in chat, anybody listening. If you know of devs or people that work within CSE, we would love to get them on our Tuesday stream, the MMO Grind with Malice. One of the things we're trying to do is help the overall community get to know these people who are making these games, the people who are really in the background doing the work that don't get the glory. Let's bring them out front, get to know them, because these are really cool people. Last Tuesday, we did one with JB, who's at CSE, and he's a really, really cool guy. I mean, I learned stuff about him. It's like, I really like this dude. It kind of just helps you get to know the studio better, the people that are actually making this game that you're going to play. So if you know people, connect with Malice on Discord, let him know. He'll get them scheduled for MMO Grind. This isn't an interview where we grill them about the game and that stuff. No, this is who is the person.
I want to know who they are. I want to advertise them. And basically, here's your resume.
Yeah. So if you get people, bring them on.
That actually, does bring up another point with some of the, how things have been run and everything that does bug me some is when Genesee was there, we had a face for the company that even if she wasn't like super knowledgeable about all the intricacies of the game development and stuff all the time, she was very good with working in the community and everything. And she unfortunately had to leave, which a lot of people were really kind of torn up about because we knew her. Brian, who, as I recall, I'm terrible with names, took over for the community management stuff. But we've never seen him. And I've asked before. We actually asked several times to try to get an interview with him on our show and stuff, because we're like, okay, you're supposed to be the community manager now, but you pretty much just manage Discord and the forums, right? And more or less in the background. And we see Max, who I love. Max, he's great.
What does Max do?
Well, he was the writer. Now he's the board game developer. And maybe still writer sometimes. I don't know.
Which is a whole other thing that we completely gloss over and ignore. They're developing a board game.
Well, it's really Max developing the board game. Right. So that one I'm not so super upset with.
Still hired on.
That means that guy literally sits there, logs in the morning, no one talks or says anything, and he works at a board game.
Well, as I recall,
a good group.
I want to be paid to do what Max's job is, man. I mean,
he was originally hired to be their writer. He was originally hired to be their writer, and then like the funding and everything for him being the writer ran out. And then I think they made him like the office manager / board game maker or something. I'm not sure how all that's gone into it. But he does the morning with Max live streams like twice a week,
which is nothing.
Yeah, but
originally when
he had Andrew on just the other day, and that was actually helpful for a lot of people. Because
he does sometimes have some of the devs on it a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty fluffy.
Every time I've ever popped in there, literally for the last 5 years, I've been initially it was informative, and then after that, it was just
But my main thing was, it's like Brian was made the community manager like over a year ago, I think. And since then, I've tried to get him on my show. I've wondered repeatedly, like, is he ever going to do any streams, or is he ever going to do any weekly wrap ups or anything? No. And I don't know. Maybe they decided they were going to hire him. When they hired him, they went, "We're not going to have you do that. We're going to have you manage the forums and the Discord." But we went from having a community manager that did that to one that they don't have do that, and instead it's just Max and MJ most of the time.
Right. And
I'm like, but we don't. MJ's pretty much the face of CSE at this point. It's him and Max.
And Chris, you're exactly right. Like that's what I view the actual answer is. MJ won't let him actually do his job.
Well, and that's kind of my point is, he came in and I'm like, when's he going to start doing this stuff? And it just seems like it's pretty much Max kept doing what part he took, and then MJ took over the rest of it. And he just manages the Discord and forum. And he's been great, and he's been helpful in the Discord and the forum. I'm not trying to put him down at all.
I mean,
it's more that I would like to see more of him.
Yeah.
Right. It's more the fear that, again, like, I cannot reiterate it enough, MJ. I'm not trying to pick a fight with you, but you're a genius. You have all these great ideas in your head, but you need to let your team succeed. And I feel that the number one thing making this a 7-year draw out is MJ not letting his team do what they were hired to do.
So we're still hopeful? All wrapped up? We're still hopeful?
I'm still hopeful.
Communities are still going along?
The last stream helped. It wasn't completely what I hoped for, but it did help significantly, and I think it will help to quench most of the major fires. My community still, my guild's still doing fine. As I think Malice indicated, he's not really having any super problems right now or anything. So
we're not a community built around CU. We're just going to CU. So
yeah.
We didn't pick up anybody.
One of the nice things about me getting to sit in the chair that I am with Smart Gamer is I've got a whole bunch of you community leaders that are part of this, and I talk to all of you, and I get to be in all your Discords and kind of see everything that's going on, and it's great fun. There are some communities that have completely just screw CU. We're done. We're completely out. There have been some leaders of other communities that are just like, nope, I've already refunded. I'm done. The community, they're probably going to do it. We've had communities fall apart that weren't necessarily built around CU, but it was like a major thing coming up because we're in this, as we always talk, the no man's land of games. So this is hard on a lot of different communities. There's a lot of people that are struggling with this, and a lot of the leaders are, I mean, look at Velik. He's stressed. I mean, he's lost all his hair.
Damn, you stole my joke.
Well,
I know you were doing the setup for your own joke. But
I heard that. Unfortunately, we have a community, and then we have a guild specifically for this game, and it's the guild itself is focused. There are people in that guild that are specifically focused on CU, and so we haven't lost any of them because of that. Some of them may have refunded, but we haven't really lost anybody from it. But it's definitely trying, but I am still hopeful because I think at the end of the day, those of us that are invested into it, myself, most of my guildmates and everybody, we're stressed. We're critical of certain things, but we mostly because we're still a little bit hopeful, and we still want the game to come out and be awesome. And that's why it would be easier if I just went, screw it, I don't care anymore, and dropped and refunded or didn't refund and just walked off.
But
that would be way
addicts.
easier.
We're all addicted.
Well, I mean, see that, and this is the foundation I get to come from, is that working with MJ previously, I know his foibles, and because I know his foibles, I know what to expect. So I'm not as shocked and overwhelmed as the average person is. I'm like, yep, actually, this is better than most of the things he goes and breaks down and does. So, I mean, so from that kind of standpoint, I feel that, there could be a lot worse things on fire, but I don't. The number one thing that I just don't like is I want a game. Honestly, I don't even care if it's Star Citizen or Camelot Unchained or Chronicles of Lyria or fucking shit. I'll play Ash the fucking Creation, you fucking scumbag. If you just make the damn game for me to freaking play. I have been waiting almost a freaking decade for a damn freaking reasonable freaking MMO. Holy
Tell
shit.
us how you feel, man.
But I believe everybody in this chat agrees 100% with me. Yep. We are MMO players. Where the fuck's the MMO in the last damn decade? No one's built one.
On that note, Malice, are you doing MMO grind on Tuesday?
Sure, I got more shit to yell about, I'm sure.
So if you want more Malice rants or want to see what he's going to pull out of his hat for Tuesday, we have a Tuesday stream. Information is below. Hop into our Discord, carry on the conversation. Otherwise, we will see you back here next Sunday, same time. Velik, we're going to give plug for your stream since we got some people that you didn't bring over.
Cool. Yeah, we're resuming the Unchained Vodcast, which is a vodcast focused solely on Camelot Unchained, and we'll probably next do an episode about Ragnarok, just cause. So
because it is
95% solely focused on Camelot Unchained, and we're doing episodes every second Sunday of at 5 p.m. Eastern time. On my channel, twitch.tv/abductedgaming. That's right. Abducted with a D-U-C-K, like the animal.
And just so everyone knows, this is, as Velik had stopped his show, we simply evolved here at Smart Gaming Live. This was a CU-focused
That's where we started.
And we realized that there was no material to talk about after episode 2.
Which is why my show's gone monthly instead of every week like it was.
And that's why Velik shows up on our show, because at least he can talk about other random stuff. Because that's kind of what we do, is we touch all of the MMO industry. Here at Community Hall, we talk to all the community leaders. And on MMO Grind, we talk about some game mechanics on a general level, like expectations from tanks, DPS, archers, mages, all that kind of fun stuff. We get guests on our show. We talk about new and upcoming games, if those existed, and we we try to get developers, the ones that exist, and we go on from there. We always want to have strong conversations with our lovely guests, which are the people in chat, and we get to totally enjoy ranting for an hour or two about all the things that are non-existent or existent in the MMO space.
So if you're passionate about something that deals with an MMO or community or just leading a bunch of gamers, which sometimes is like herding cats, hit Malice up. We'll get you on one of the shows, bring you on, and we'll talk about what you're passionate about. And
or even just show up and pop into our chat and be like, hey, I got this question, and we will go on a good 45-minute tangent on your question. I mean, I love to tangent on random questions, so
especially when he's had a few beers. All right, thank you all for showing up. We'll see you Tuesday or next week. Check out Discord. We'll let you know if Tuesday is going to happen. We have a guest, or one of our hosts has got some stuff going on, so that kind of makes that show a hit and miss right now. But otherwise, thank you all for showing up. Appreciate you being here.
Peace. Have a good one.